could do that. But then there is also video speed. So for that fight, as we can see, so well choreographed, right? That just raising the speed down to make it slower, or raising the speed up to make it go faster. So for the fight, especially because it's so big like that, imagine if I'm doing it like this, which is how they're doing it, by speeding it up a little bit, you know what I mean? Now, even though they're also kind of like connecting, we can also emphasize it with the sound effects of punches, so it's like, makes it more dynamic. So that's what I can add to that, actually, in there. I like it how he had, because he's only working on something called light works or something like that, but I like it how he had the gun flare, because as you know, the gun doesn't actually fire. So he used the sound effect of the gunshot and the flare of the gun. And I mean, we have that too on Power Director. You could do it more like with smoke, but I like that. I would like to know where that spark effect comes from. That was really good. So pretty much, that's that film. It's from Out of the Past. A lot of you remarked about the shadows on the wall, which is in the movie.
Yeah, there's some really nice shots in it. Definitely. Some good cinematography. But one thing I would have said about the fight...
Gary Phillips on cinematography, by the way.
One thing I would have said about the fight was I would have put more close-ups in of like hands and fists, and I would have chopped really fast.
Yeah, I mean,
just to build up like a real kind of what you were saying, either the speed or just chop into it, but like with quite a few like hands grabbing and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Now you say that, but like that's very difficult to do. It is important to do, but like this is a film that involves a stunt, and I mean I think they doing it on the fly kind of thing like that. I think it's good because I think all we needed to do was speed that up. But if you actually put in close-ups, like you're talking about like a close-up of a hand grab, close-up of a punch, like Raging Bull, Martin Scorsese, like the whole point is you would only go for a close-up if you really want to emphasize impact. So it's really a good point to bring up because you got to ask yourself, what am I going for in close-ups? So even if it's just suggesting that, how do you envision that actually enhancing that fight sequence? Is going to close-ups of hand grabs, is what you just said, like arm grabs or punches. Because when you see a punch, right, that's impact and everything, I mean, or hand grab, like, or close-up hand grab. It's like, I don't need it unless I need it, And with that fight sequence, that actually is a really good fight sequence. It just needs speeding up so I'm not laughing at the fight sequence, because also too is I'm also looking at the cutaway to the silhouettes. The cutaway to the silhouette was also really good too. I mean, like that doesn't need speeding up because that just emphasizes that these girls are just like so not impressed by this alpha male shit, right? So imagine close up of that and then pow, It's like Indiana Jones, when he just shoots the guy. So I mean, well done on all of that. But it's a great suggestion. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's important to understand why do we need things or why do we ask for things. So there is an important thing into this that I wanted to mention because I do actually want to spend a little more time talking about, which is tone and tension. I mean, for you guys as editors, is that we looked at 3 very different pieces today, right, and everything like that, But there has to be what Nigel was saying was about like his process a little bit of editing, like how he chose his shots. He had a lot of shots to choose from because they shot the whole sequence, didn't they, Nigel, in each angle?
No. You're talking about with the 7th film? No, they didn't. And that was a problem I did find.
They didn't shoot the whole thing.
They didn't shoot the whole thing.
All right, Stephen Lamb, I tried to give you credit. They didn't shoot the whole thing.
No.
Right,
so
he chose what his close-up shots would be.
Yeah, the close-ups were more towards the end of the scene. which
You're
is
right.
which is why I've used obviously close-ups towards
Well,
the end of the
obviously,
scene. But
they wouldn't need the whole scene of you at the box. I meant like when the three of you came together, that whole scene was shot from different angles. Like when you were trying to convince, Mills not to shoot him.
yeah,
That was shot from all different angles. The whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because no point shooting, because you move, right? So once you came out of that scene with the box, that scene with the three of you together, that all needed to be shot from all the angles on everyone, right? So that gave you enough stuff to look at. But with Misa's Casablanca film, she did not do that. You see what I mean? She spent a lot of time shooting a lot of little shots that wasn't like the whole sequence of shots where, so I didn't have close-ups of Anne-Marie doing her whole dialogue sitting down. I didn't have close-ups of you. I had a two-shot of the two of you. I had one close-up of Anne-Marie, and then I only had a close-up of you after you sat back down after she left.
Yeah.
Right? That means she only got up once, right? And also, too, is when you both got up, it would also have been good to just have the camera there that they rise up into the frame. I mean, they stand up into the shot.
Yeah.
So that means whenever a character leaves a frame, right, you should also account for that with a shot that a character comes in and exits the frame. And I've seen that a lot where people don't even bother to think about that because the editor could actually use that anywhere, or in that sequence to break up the sequence. But
Kind of doesn't make it flow when that happens, doesn't it? Your edits kind of, because to me editing, it's all got to flow. It's got to, even though you're going from you can go from one scene to another. There's got to be something in the edit that makes it kind of continuous, and I can't think of the right word for it.
That you shouldn't cut away to the.
Sometimes you can look at something and the edits just seem really jarred. Do you know what I mean? They can kind of jump to something that is. I don't even know what it is that makes it look like that.
It won't jump if you actually know what you are trying to emphasize. So let me try to give you a quick example because it's a very good question, right? So filming this, right? So let's say I'm having a conversation. I mean, film me and the bottle. Let's just say I'm having a conversation with you and everything like that, and blah blah blah, and all of a sudden this just comes out of nowhere, right? And take a drink, and then it goes out of nowhere, right? And everything like that. Now, the point of that cutaway should be is that you shot me doing this, having that conversation with you. You should also make sure that you shoot this shot of me. My hand picks up the bottle, takes it out of frame, comes back into frame, right? Now, you understand that, right?
Mm-mm.
What angle should the camera be on that bottle?
The same angle as it's going towards.
What angle is that?
It's going.
All right, you come over here for a second. Leave the cameraman over there, right? Now, so do like this. This is your camera angle, right? These two fingers. Point. How you gonna shoot that bottle? You understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Where's the camera?
Okay, hang on. So if the camera's here, it's going.
The camera's here shooting me to take the drink, right? The camera's where Nigel is.
Yeah, so it needs to be on one side to go into the diagonally the other side, doesn't it? Here.
It will be one.
Let me see your two fingers do it.
That way.
No, you shoot. No, why'd you move my bottle? Oh, all right, it's out of continuity. Just do this. Is it here? Is it here? Or is it there?
I think it needs to be facing you so it goes off.
Or you come over here and do
No,
your
it's
two
here.
fingers.
Oh no, wait a minute, because if you've got that in the background, then it needs to be in the same direction as you. So if the shot is there of you picking
Yeah,
up the
right.
bottle,
That's the shot there. Me, yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you pick that up.
Go.
Yeah, then it needs to be here. It needs to be the same background, doesn't it?
Does it? All right, that's your answer. What's your answer?
I don't know. It's confusing me.
So you are drinking there. I think I'm going to have the camera. Okay, the bottle's going to go that way. It looked easier the other side.
What?
It would look easier if I did the other side.
Well, why don't you do the other side?
Yes. Because I think I need the scene from here.
All right, what did she just do?
Cross the line.
Cross the line, you're fired. All right, no, sit down, you're fired.
I moved the scene.
You're fired. Now, you said you're going to be over there shooting this, right?
Mm.
Over there shooting this, right?
Well, if I'm shooting you from there, then surely it would be from the same place where the bottle is.
Surely. But my eyes...
Surely.
Hold on. My eyes picked up this bottle to take this drink.
Yeah.
So how come the camera's not right here?
You want a POV shot?
Why not?
Your POV.
Doesn't that make sense? You just talked about a shot being jarring when it just comes out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense that your camera is right here, POV of the bottle. I take it up and take it out and I put it back. Why doesn't that make sense to you? Why did it have to be over there? Now, I'm not going to say that it can't be over there.
Yeah, I was going to say it depends what you want.
Hold
Surely.
on though. But it's still not where you want it, right? Like, so it being over there because we have this shot of me taking a drink. Yes, you could have a close-up from the same camera just on the table and not
So
on me taking the
just
bottle
puts
out of
into
the
it.
shot,
Yeah.
right? But as Nigel just said, as a POV, if I did this, if I had a shot of this, boom, 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 and I put it back, that's not jarring because it's the point of view of me picking up to take that drink.
Right.
You already got me drinking the drink and it coming in and out of the frame, right? But this is just me looking at the bottle, taking it up and out. And so it's just you putting the camera over here where your actor is to shoot the bottle go in and out as an insert, and it's not jarring. Well, who's looking at that? You know, because this is a wide shot of everything. But you could, if you want to be an amateur, you could do that and do the close-up and do that. You know, nobody's going to say you're fired. You're able to cross the line. I mean, does it make any sense?
Yeah.
Right? So all I'm trying to say is these inserts are very important as an editor because it's the tone and tension of what I'm trying to say about, like, it's John Sells who brought me on to that, right? You can get back to me now. It's that, like, John Sells, who, you know, did a lot of, like, slow-burning films and stuff like that. He was saying, when he was talking about editing, he was talking about tone and tension. And it's up to the editor to figure out how long you, him, the audience, could stand to look at a particular shot.
Yeah,
How long
that's it.
do you have dialogue running for before you cut to something else because I'm bored already, right? So it's kind of like when you look at scripts or write scripts, what happens is the actors tend to write these long, laborious dialogues because they think Quentin Tarantino is a genius. They don't realize that the actors have to fucking memorize all that long, laborious dialogue, and if still just somebody just talking long for no reason whatsoever but to say your long, laborious dialogue. But what you have to be able to think is that the audience, they can't pay attention that long or they fall asleep, which is why they fall asleep on something like War and Peace. The whole deal is you need something else going on. So what we never focused on, which I tried to talk about when we talked about the reshoot and cutaway scenario, is we never focus on the fact that we always want to get the dialogue scene going like you did with Casablanca, but we never focus on where actually are we. You know, like how come nobody's like panning the posters on the wall? How come nobody's shooting the glasses on the table? You know, why do we see the smoking cigar in the ashtray? It's not because it's a crime scene for a murder who she wrote. It's because there's cutaways that I want to grab some interesting shots that makes it be that I grab that. You know, I'm trying to fill up the atmosphere of this scene and make it a film, as opposed to I'm rushing to get all the dialogue right and I'm making sure all the actors say everything they have to say, that I'm not even focused on a reaction shot. So if I think this is boring, right, then I'm actually making my whole film boring because I didn't bother doing it. So tone and tension as an editor is about how can I let this scene breathe, not just for myself but for the people who are watching it. So don't cut the camera. And I always screech at the fact that directors shall cut after the dialogue is ended. And they're not letting the actor actually emote, right? You hear me say that all the time. They're not giving the actor a chance to react to the fact that, oh, this girl just left me. You know, the guy just punched me in the face. Or, you know, I'm walking out of the scene, like when Carl walks out of the scene,
Yeah.
walking out of the scene, and you don't give a crap. Right? Because you went right to, you know, the conversation over there. You know? So, like, you could have, so you had the shot of Carl walking away, you had the shot of Carl walking away in reverse.
Yeah.
Then you had Nigel looking at Carl walking away. And then, you know, look back at the girl, yeah, I could sit down for a drink. You know, thinks about it for a second, and then he goes to sit down by walking out of your frame. So you shot that, yeah, but what it is how do you edit it? How do you make the choice that this feels dramatic to me, right? That, like, you gave me the breathing space to shoot all of this stuff. So I am creating a certain amount of tension how long I hold the shot. I am setting the tone of the film for what kind of shots they are. That means, is this a comedy? Is it a horror? Or is it a drama? Right? We talked about that in Enter and Exits. We talked about the fact that, like, you know, you can enter a room but just by walking in. But the mood now is set by how you shoot it. How you actually shot that entrance. It's a wide shot, walking in, guy walks in and there's an empty chair. Right? Where does my eye line go? You know? So for the director, you know, you got this empty chair, you got this person walking into it, and then he touches the chair. Remember that? I did that in the class, right? So, like, touching the chair, it's empty, and I'm asking the audience, what's going on? Right? And 2 out of 3 people said someone died. Now, me as an actor, and then me as a director myself as an actor, was like, exactly. Because I'm setting the tone by that wide shot. Everybody just looking at, hey, yo, guy looks kind of sad, and he's touching that chair. Now, the tension B, right, when do I cut? So, widen that shot. So, got the empty chair, and I walked in, and I walk around the chair. I heavy breathe, yeah, you know, over the top acting. Then I touch the chair. I react to touching the chair. I heavy breathe again. I feel that, you know, rub the chair. Sense of loss with that chair, right? The chair is a whole person now, just by the way I interact with it. Now, as an editor, let's say that you had a director who actually shot the wide shot of that, the close-ups of the hand touching the chair, right? Close-up of reacting on his face, right? All right, and the wide shot of him walking out because it's the same wide shot. How do you cut that tone and tension-wise to make this a sad piece?
How do you do it? You just cut between all of the
Cut
shots.
between what?
The 4 shots.
The 4 shots I just named. But it is about how you cut and when you cut. So it's just like what Nigel just said about the film 7. You know, it's like when he chooses, it's like when I said about the 3 beat, it's when I said about the 2 beats, right? You know, you as an editor, you can't just say, oh, I'll just cut everything. It's got to be that I'm looking for an emotional connection. So let's just say, like when I'm rubbing this chair, I rub that chair, but you as an editor choose to keep my hand there. Right? Now, what I'm just trying to say is I'm just trying to give you some emotion, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Could be going long or going short. But that's what the tone and tension is. How long do you feel is too long? Right? And everything. And that's what editing is about. It's like, when do I cut to his face? Just because he put his hands down? Or do I cheat time? Right? And I actually, you know, put that before he touches it. Or after.
It's very instinctive, isn't it?
There is an instinct to it.
Yeah.
But there's also a practice to it. It's also something that you as the editors would have to start to really think about that is going to be, if that was Jamie, I might start laughing. Right? You know what I mean? No, but we all know Jamie.
Yeah.
So if that was Jamie, I might start laughing. Or if Jamie actually was convinced to like do something where it wasn't gurning, I might go, oh shit, he just gave me, because I'm so used to him making me laugh. But he looks really sad. Like in that scene with you with the box scene, the urban box one. You know? Oh my God, you know, Jamie can go dark. You know, and now I'm watching. I'm more impressed. You know, but if you only did that for 2 seconds, then I, as an editor, will have to make sure that 2 seconds lasts really long by cutting to it, cutting away from it, keeping it on longer by stretching it. I mean, does this make any sense? This is what I'm trying to say about the tone and tension is very important as far as it's up to you about how long you stretch a shot, where do you use that shot again? And it's up to the director to give you the shot so I can use it. You know what I mean? So, like, you might not have left the room yet, right? I might have just come in, did this, and then walked out, right? You might not have gotten my face and everything. But what you will need to be able to do is for the story that you want to tell, I need you to stay there longer. So I can like turn this shot, and once you touch it, I can turn that into a still, right? And then I can stretch a still out. You know, meaning the still photograph, I can stretch that out. You know, I can actually cut to you touching your hand like this, right? And then, you know, cut to the wide shot where I could do like what I do, and I could crop it, try and get a mid shot of you, and then I could go back to the hand. Even though you touch this once, I can make you touch it 2, 3, as many times as I want. That is what I'm trying to say, right? So the tone and tension is, it becomes whatever you want it to be, and that's what I love about editing. That's where the magic is. The magic is in, I can make this anything.
Showing creativity.
You see what I mean? You know, but I need your help as a director, right? And I need
The right
your
shots,
imagination
yeah.
as a director to inspire me to say, hey, dude, what about this? And if you watch the cutting edge film that I've actually, you know, say, hey, you can watch, right? You know, there's these great stories by editors and directors how they sit in the room and they come up with things on the spot. You know, like the election one where the guy said, I really want this long take of everybody looking at Matthew Broderick and stuff like that. You know, the guy who got the black eye. And then the editor said, hey, what if I did this more staccato cut? And then it's all these multiple shots of everybody looking at him. And then he's just got this look at this. So he went for a dramatic scene and made it more comedic. And the director didn't want it at first, said, let me see it, and then he ended up using it. That's what I'm trying to say is that, you know, it's through experimentation, right? And it's through that theory of tone and tension that I control this. But without the footage, I can't do anything. Without you actually saying, okay, I'm going to shoot the whole scene instead of just a couple of lines, you know, you cut your own imagination at the feet, you know, and that's what I was trying to say. So does anybody understand what I mean now?
Yeah.
You know, between tone and tension, it's like how it feels and how you make me feel that way. That is how you do it as an editor, but you need the footage to actually do that and play with it and move it around and to do all of that kind of stuff. So I mean, tone and tension I just thought was a great word that John Sells said, but that's how I look at it. When I'm sitting down and I'm editing, and this could be dramatic pieces, not dramatic pieces, corporate pieces, you know, documentary pieces. You know, if you actually think about it, this documentary's got to be, it sounds like the most boring job in the world, right? But it's only boring as much as you make it boring. You have to actually think. If I'm out here on a beach, you know, shooting ducks flying, waiting for them to conjugate, you know, like I gotta actually, you know, create these wide shots and expansive shots and slow it down, and I gotta choose the music, and I gotta do all these different things to make this look really dynamic. So it could be artwork, it could be anything. You have to just shoot a lot of different random footage stylistically through different angles and then let it play itself out. But you create the tone by what you have shot and when you cut that shot. And that's tone and tension. Make sense? Did you get all that? Cut then.